Hi, I'm Professor Schmidt, and welcome to International Integrated Coastal Zone Management. I wanted to just briefly tell you why I chose the material that I chose for the class, and in particular, I think the book Ocean's End, which is a classic now. You know, the copyright is a little bit older, but I believe that it is a wonderful baseline sort of historical background for us to then look at contemporary issues. We're going to look at the case studies in that book, which deal with some of the really big coastal problems that that are of recent origin. It doesn't go back very far, but those problems lay out for us what the contemporary challenges are all about, and I think they give us a good idea of how things were at one point, and then how, in particular, unwise policies both onshore and upriver, so to speak, in many countries in Central Europe, in Canada, in the United States, regarding the farming policies and other policies that produced a dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico, the increasing impact of tourism, especially golf courses and so on the reefs in Belize, the concern about climate change and especially rising sea levels on small islands that are barely above sea level, the cases of impact of global warming on the Arctic, or in this case Antarctica, and then some larger issues regarding the oceans and how climate, the oceans affect life on the coast and also in the oceans. So the first book is essentially a series of very interesting, well-written, I think, and fun to read discussions about these issues. We've also, those case studies, by the way, are really very short. You can read them in a short period of time. So we've also coupled them with some more recent information about the same problems that are discussed in Ocean's End. And then we also are asking you to take a look at a kind of a response directly to the challenges presented in Ocean's End, and that book that we've assigned to you is a study that was done by a very interesting environmental group that was founded in part by Sylvia Earle and other marine and coastal scientists, and it's called Defying Ocean's End. That book, by the way, was translated into Spanish. I was involved in that project and in the selection of the title in Spanish so that it would use the right language in Latin America and other Spanish-speaking countries to make the case. And Defying Ocean's End essentially is a book that says, yes, here we have some big problems, here we have some big trends and some things that are of great concern. Can we do anything about this? What can we do about it? How do we go about addressing these issues with very specific policy solutions, which are outlined in Defying Ocean's End? And again, we've assigned you those readings, and then we have given you some more contemporary counterparts to the solutions that are offered there. Of course, we have the climate change conference in Copenhagen, which we need to look at in several different places in this book. That was, of course, in December of 2009. So that is the hot, sizzling issue that we need to understand. And the climate change conference addressed many of the things that are the subject of the topics in both the first half and the last half of our international coastal zone management class. And we know that that conference almost collapsed, so we can use it as a wonderful case study of the politics of coastal management as well as climate change and all the other issues. I think sometimes students in this class are repelled by the idea of politics. You know, it's kind of dirty and I don't like politics and so on. And I keep having to say, all of the topics that we're talking about in this class are very controversial. There are 2 or 3 different solutions to all those problems. There are interests and interest groups that are deeply affected by those issues. You know, reversing emissions and cutting back on emissions is not an easy process. It can be very painful. It scares labor unions and business groups and others who fear that it would impact on jobs and the economy. And so I think the climate change conference in Copenhagen, now that you are aware of what was at stake there because you probably watched it or read some of it, now you understand why coastal zone management and policy and politics are so contentious. And that is what we would like to do in this class. So to understand the politics of it. So I'll see you guys later, and I hope you enjoy the class. Take care.